Welcome back as we get ready for the final game of the evening. Bryce, welcome back to the couch.
Thanks, mate.
We belong. I don't mean you don't belong up there. I just mean
no casting for you.
no casting for you. It's
Only
done.
one game today.
It's
Get
done.
back on the bloody couch.
We'll put Bailey up there next time.
Yeah,
So far, what we've seen tonight, a little bit of everything, I'd say.
Yeah,
What have we learned
absolutely.
from what the OPL is going to look like from the 3 games that we've seen so far?
Looking at me, I think I'm a bit of a... I pride myself on being an optimist. I try and be
We know
very
this about you.
optimistic,
Yeah.
but I'm about to be very pessimistic.
Oh, you're going to have to pick
I
up
was
the
going to
pieces,
be.
'cause it's
Thank
like-
God, because I have lots of negative things
No.
to say.
As a former pro player, I have the experience with the other OPL pro players, and we get very influenced by the other regions very quickly. So this week, and is like all up in the air, people are doing their own thing because we haven't seen much LCK, but OPL players are big LCK goblins.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the coming weeks, we're going to become LCK goblins and just like start trending towards that.
Yeah, interesting, right? Because I think a lot of the coaches now disagree with that philosophy.
Yeah, but the players are like, God damn, man.
So it's going to be like a big battle between coaches and players, right? Because I know that, Rusty's not going to ever draft like an LCK person. I won't ever draft like an LCK person. I assume you and Juve certainly won't either because Juve's is big on the Fido and I don't know what you're big on yet. We'll see. But I think like the big thing from my end is that what I've kind of taken away from this is that best of one means that if you are going to play aggressive in the early game, which a couple of teams have had to today, and you fall behind, it's going to snowball out of control is like the first thing. You don't get another shot. So I expect a lot of games to actually look more like the Mammoth Bombers game. After like watching that game, like you would say like both teams had a shot to win that game at all points. And then you go through why, and I was like, they both drafted a tank top lane, got into Scion, both of them fulfill the same role. And then you can draft playmaking in mid lane, but your 80 carry needs to be able to team fight is like kind of what I've taken away from it. So like Sivir, Kai'Sa, I expect us to see a little bit more Ezreal than what we've seen right now.
Vayne has been getting banned.
Vayne's getting banned because there are a lot of good Vayne players on server, but if she doesn't get banned, then I expect her to be played as well. Because I actually expect, especially after watching an order just get blown out, that teams are going to be hesitant to play aggressive early games.
So you're going to be looking for teams
Really?
So
that
scaling is going to become more important.
Because like just fleshing that out in my head, it's kind of like best of one seems like the opposite, right? Like because that was like best of one. I think people are gonna like want to play more scaling and save it, but best of one, especially for like that game was like AV versus Order. I think most people tip Order to be like the better team, and AV are just like let's just play like a tank top, or let's like play aggressive. You know what I mean?
Did they play aggressive? Because like what actually happened, right? So Order ran into River at their blue buff, got caught out on their aggressive play. So that's not AV's aggressive play.
Yeah.
So
I'm not necessarily like that game, but I think best of one, like to me, if you go down the rabbit hole of that like logic, like best of one, like especially mismatch in terms of team strength, like you would expect the lesser team to be like, man, let's just hit him in the face.
No, that's what I mean. So I'm not saying that weaker teams aren't going to play aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm saying that when teams think that they're close to each other.
Yeah.
So when like
we're gonna have long ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
That the game is going to slow down.
Yeah. Okay,
So you could see in the Bombers versus like your game took 2 or 3 Barons to close out. Bombers versus Mammoth took 2 or 3 Barons to close
really
out.
trying my memory. Here.
Yeah, it took 2 or 3 Barons to close out. And it was because like in the past, Direwolves, which is now pretty much the Mammoth lineup, would have closed like a game on like 1 Baron. Order was very famous. Chiefs were very famous on closing games on 1 Baron, but it was because you had another 2 games.
Yeah.
If that went wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas now you get Baron, people are taking 2 turrets recalling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to set the tempo and screw it up. You want
absolutely.
to be able to sit back and wait to react to your opportunity as opposed to
Yeah,
go like,
so
this is how we're going to play and
You
mess
have
it up.
2 options when you're ahead, right? You either make your proactive play and you're stronger and therefore it can work, or you start strangling resources and then
deny
they make
their wing condition.
the other person makes a silly play and then you punish it. I think we're going to see much more of deny vision, deny their play, wait for them to make a mistake, and that makes the game slow because then teams start doing nothing.
So then, if you're saying that OPL has got no influence, over the last couple of weeks
Currently,
heading into
yeah.
the split, like
Yeah,
at the moment, and
absolutely.
obviously that's going to start up. What is the play style of OPL this split? Besides the fact that the best of ones have kind of changed that up.
We're 3 games deep.
I totally know
What
that.
is the OPL playstyle? We've seen...
I guess it's like, it's 3 games deep, but it's also an
75%
opportunity
of the
to
play.
come out and go, this is who we are as a team. This is
Yeah.
how we want to, this is the direction that we want to at least start in. We may not end up here in 10 weeks' time, but...
I don't know. I don't think we have, and I don't think anything that we have shown, bar order, was like a very different style. Most people are like trading power picks, playing standard stuff, whereas I would say order is the only comp so far that has been, in my head, non-standard.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And I would say that, our draft was pretty wonky as well. Okay. So I would say that, maybe not looking forward to another one of those ones. But what I think is so where I'll be positive, right, is that non-standard is winning everywhere right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're being kind of I think people at home would think we're being negative by saying, they're not copying it and stuff like that. But if you copy the LCK right now, you get elite support running around from the best team.
I was having such a big debate about whether Guardian Relic Shield, that sounds just so awful in my head.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. But I mean, Griffin are the best team in the world, arguably right now. Yeah. And then you watch Top versus IG and everyone was like, wow, Top and IG, this is going to be a great match. And during Demacia Cup, don't get me wrong, they look like two very good teams. Top versus IG at the start of this week was an awful game of League of Legends. It was actually a cloud fiesta. You could have cued the Betty Hue music. They just chased each other and team fought. And it looked like Rookie at one point was actually trolling his own team from winning the game. So I think that what I'm saying is that I don't know if anyone's really figured out what optimal League of Legends right now looks like. And I think that we're going to see a lot more weeks of experimentation. And then 9.2 is going to blow up what experimentation we have successfully achieved.
We've just figured something out.
Yeah, and it's just going to explode.
Yeah, because the offseason has been pretty tame. We have turret plating and the meta's changed a little bit, but 9.2 is just going to... And it's all right, sick. What are we doing? Let's figure it out soon.
Yeah, I think one thing that we'll see more of, which we haven't necessarily seen right now, is early swap into turret pushing. I think that when you start losing the game, if you've got a scaling AD carry like a Kaiser or something like that, there is no reason that you just don't recall with some tempo, run top lane, and just get 3 plates onto your AD carry and go, okay, at least she's got some gold for some items. Whereas what we've seen so far is teams hesitant to swap away from losing lanes.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with the next group because these were two of the strongest teams from last year. We've got Direwolves versus Chiefs coming up. Let's take a look at Direwolves first. Bryce, talk us through the new Wolf pack.
It is a very, very young new Wolf pack. This is a lot of what's it?
Diet Cubs.
A cub. I'm blanking on a cub. I was going to call them Wolfies.
That works too.
This is the Dire Wolfies
Dire
this
babies.
year. I reckon the Dire Babies. So Coach Charlie Wraith is obviously on their lineup. This time he went from AV, now sitting under Sharp in some description. He is still involved with the Dire Wolves. But their big mainstay top laner, rookie of the split last year in Biopanther, incredible smile. He is still there, but every other person on this team is brand new. Udisoft replaced Churnfire at Worlds, had a better showing than Churnfire, but I feel like both of them had poor showing, so it's a bit of a backhanded compliment, I suppose. I've said he's a very nice guy. I like Udisoft. Get back in the mid lane and then the bottom lane is very young. They've played some stuff at League of Origin. Get back won the next gamer. But we don't know much about these guys, and they come in with not a great deal of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think before we get into the Chiefs lineup, the one thing I will say, and obviously people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but a lot of pundits online are very skeptical.
Yes.
Even with the terrific... So Direwolves have the best infrastructure in the OPL, in my opinion. They've got the SCG. They've promoted Sharp to now director of high performance. They've brought in another head coach. As far as I can tell, no other team has gone to the lengths that they have in the short time when Guinevere Capital came on. And I think that even teams like Avant that are now doing it are actually playing catch up to what the Direwolves had done 2 years ago. And Sharp and Rippy have learned all those lessons that everyone else is currently trying to learn in the current landscape. In saying that, there is a certain amount of skill cap question for this team. And I think primarily it revolves around the bottom lane. Even with the best infrastructure in the world, I don't know whether Andrew and Corporal can compete with some of the bottom lanes that we're going to see. Primarily King Destiny, FBI Rogue, and the bottom lane that they're about to run into right now, because Ayla is an absolute monster in my opinion. Went to Korea, got challenger the first time over there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, young man. And Raze is the best team fighting AD carry still in the league. He might say what you will about Quinny K's laning phase, which I think is getting better. If you get the guy to 5 items, he'll win you 70% of the game solo.
I'm excited to see this as well because Sharp prides himself on his coaching, but particularly his sort of like philosophy when it comes to approaching a team. And I feel like when you've got a team this young with this little experience in this kind of tournament, then it's as much of a test of Sharp of what he can do with that management style, with that coaching style, and that philosophy.
What do you think about it?
I am skeptical. I think they have a very in the same way that they value good things. Like from a management, from a coaching perspective, they have very good systems in place.
Yep.
But I don't want to say. I've already.
We'll see.
I'm going to say it. No. Somebody said it to me. This isn't my words, and this is very harsh, right? But somebody said you can polish a turd, but it's still a turd.
Whoa!
Right? So, like, this is that situation. I'm not saying that. I don't think that, but somebody said it to me. And like, they have a very young, a very inexperienced roster, and, like, they have very good systems.
Direwolves are going to win. Direwolves are going to win OPL. It's 100% confirmed. Don't worry about it. We're moving on to the Chiefs now. The Chiefs lineup. Bryce?
I wasn't. I doing the Chiefs lineup?
Oh, no, Bryce, you did the Direwolves. Yeah, sorry, you've got your foot in your mouth anyway. Jake, you go ahead.
Yeah, Tim Volt returns long-time analyst / coach of the Chiefs, now returning after a brief stint in another game. Swiper, of course, rocking the top, only over from the legacy lineup, as well as Claire Oceania's last hope. Of course, Quinny K is their AD carry, and Ayla, their promising young support. I actually want to focus in on the duo that smacked me around last year in Only and Claire. Only, obviously, young jungler, 24 years old. Just got some success with New South Wales, and I think that did wonders for his approach towards the game. I think that Only, especially when you take someone like Carbon, and Carbon wouldn't have done this deliberately because I know Carbon. He would want all of his players to play like with gusto and like confidence and stuff like that. But I think that Only was someone that hadn't had much success, and then getting success. Now, even when I watch him in solo queue and stuff like that, he is so much more aggressive. Yeah. And I think that Claire playing with a more aggressive version of Only is going to be dangerous, not scary. This is a guy that like sub 10 minutes will like body teams. He's a freak show, and I think that duo is certainly exciting to watch.
It is a hell of a game for the new Direwolves to be coming up against for their first week, and we are going to see how it turns out as we swing over now to Rusty and Vandy.
Thanks so much, Nick. And I am Vandy, joined today by Rusty.
Hello.
I'm pretty excited to see this because, as we saw from that last game, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that anything's possible in the first week of a best-of-1 format as well.
Absolutely. Upsets can happen.
Absolutely. And this is one of those games where, you know, you look at the rosters, you look at the potential placements of them. Everyone's got their own tier lists beforehand. Some people are calling them poo polishers. Some people do have a lot of faith in them.
I wasn't going to bring it up again, but you did.
I just wanted the alliteration.
I like the dire wolfies, if I'm being honest. So maybe we'll stick
go
with
with
that.
wolfies.
Yeah, you know, they haven't evolved yet. We're going to see if they can reach their adult form. They have all the infrastructure, but this is the game that we see.
Yeah.
What can this rookie lineup really bring to the table?
And I want to stress something, because even if that is the opinion of Direwolves in week 1, like, everyone's welcome to their own opinions, but it's about building for them. They're not going to start week 1. They might actually, which would be a big surprise, but you don't expect them to start week 1 with all of their skills just out there on the floor. A new team coming together, you don't expect that. So against a team like the Chiefs, you would say Direwolves are heavy underdogs against the heavy favorites of the Chiefs.
That's right. And as we kind of go into the Champ Select, already the bans are flying. We do have the Aurelia, Alistair, as well as the Galio taken out from the Chiefs. Sorry, from the Direwolves. And then from the Chiefs side, we do have Aatrox and Cassiopeia. Already, I'm starting to notice a trend in terms of we do see a couple of those mid laners being taken out, as well as the top laners, that flex pick that you kind of referred to earlier.
Absolutely. You look at the Aurelia, you look at the Galio, the Cassiopeia, the Aatrox, and even now the Lucian has seen a few bans today in this best-of-1 format. But with that, we've got champions locked in very quickly.
We do. The Urgot followed by the Akali. So I do like these picks right here. Once again, we've seen them, I guess, a little bit of that theme for today. We are still finding our feet a bit of our meta, but these are some picks that we have seen more than once. And I mean, I guess some of the reason you could find behind it is that flex pick situation. It doesn't really give away too much about the direction you want to steer your draft in.
When you want to look at flex picks, you just look at the Chiefs roster right now. 2 champions locked in, Urgot and Lissandra. 2 flex picks definitely locked in for them. I am very curious to see how Swiper goes with this champion pool and how he manages to fit into the meta. He's always been known as the big Titan who loves the big tanks. but now he's going to have to play a bit more of a bruiser style potentially in the future.
I'm having a look at that Rakan. He did get quite a lot of love in terms of bans from that last year period, but in the last moment, maybe hovering that Xin Zhao and actually going for the Xin Zhao. Not willing to lock that one in. Also, the Ziggs.
Oh,
If
may
this
not
is
be locked in yet.
Yeah, I would say if this is locked in, that's going to be highly unlikely. Ooh.
I would be surprised if it does, but we'll let him have his hovers for the moment.
There we
Rakan
go.
definitely makes the
That
most
makes
sense.
most sense. I
Yeah.
was like, all right, with the Ziggs, I mean, I know you guys are the Direwolfies. Perhaps they might want to try and catch the Chiefs off guard, but I feel like the Rakan Xin Zhao, we're starting to build towards something a little bit more standard.
Yeah, this is actually something that we have seen in the very limited sample size of major region games so far. The LCK has played the Xin Zhao. They've actually played it with the Rakan. I'm curious to see where Ubisoft goes with his runes of choice, and we'll see what happens as the draft continues and we get onto the Rift. But for the moment, the Chiefs have rounded out their first 3 picks.
Ooh, a global with Nocturne now locked in. Nocturne's one of those junglers where you really do need to start respecting the map. His ability to roam is unlike any of the other junglers that we do see, and he can become quite an absolute monster.
And it is notoriously hard to spell shield a champion like a Rakan. Of course, having one spell shield akin to something like the Sivir, Rakan has 2 forms of crowd control that hit pretty much at the same time. So it's very hard to survive things like that. However, his matchup is against the Xin Zhao. And that's usually one of the matchups where if you're Nocturne, you want to get 6 first. If you're Xin Zhao, you probably want to gank before that point and really try and get yourself on the map.
Already as well for the Direwolves in the second half of the ban phase with Rakan picked up as their support of choice. They already take out a Braum, meaning that the Chiefs have a little bit less to select from and choose from. Chiefs respond with a Sion and a Xayah.
Where there is Rakan, there has to be Xayah, particularly in the ban phases at the moment. And when you look towards what the Direwolves have done so far with their second bans, they're going to take off the Fiddlesticks here to go with the Braum, taking away a couple of lane control style champions perhaps away from the Chiefs, away from Ayla, to see what he goes towards. He is a good Thresh player, but he also can play literally any champion. He's got a deep champion pool.
Chiefs already building up their mid and top with the jungler. Now we turn their attention onto what they want for the bot laner. You touched a little bit about spell shields. Morgana, we know her utility to provide one is unlike others. She can be used to either engage or to disengage. So she's very flexible in that regard.
A lot of Morganas go for Emax in the support role as well, unless you're in solo queue, in which case nobody really prescribes to the
No way.
competitive meta. They just do whatever they want,
Do
really.
what you want. I'm going to be carrying Morgana in this support role.
And let it be known, it doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to max your E, and I expect to see that in this game from the Chiefs support in Ayla against the Rakan.
The Jace also being locked in on the side of Direwolves. And this is one that I was even asking you about a little bit off screen, where I'm saying, how come he's so much, I guess, why is he starting to come back into the meta?
And he can still flex super well. That's the big thing you
Yeah.
always have to look at with Jace. Can go between solo lanes. I'm surprised again to see a lot of the carries on both of these teams going towards the top lane, but Jace is a ranged champion. He knows what his matchups could be out of as well, and Direwolves have chosen a fairly safe and still bully heavy style option that can do well in lane.
I like the Sivir pick into the Morgana. If she is going to be throwing a Q at you, you can easily use your spell shield to mitigate that. But also, you do have so much CC coming your way on the side of the Chiefs. Sivir, we saw she can be an absolute monster if left to farm, and the Kai'Sa pick up by the Chiefs. So a lot of, I guess, we start to see the ADCs that we see. The Sivir, we see a lot of the Kai'Sa, and then even a Varus last game.
Yeah, this is wild. When you actually look at the team compositions, I'm going to start with the Chiefs here as well, because there's only one direction that the Chiefs composition wants to go, and that is forwards. You have a Kai'Sa, a champion that you would say is a hyper carry, but of course has the unique capabilities of ulting into the backline, and is surrounded by divers. Alessandro and Urgot, and a Nocturne mainly as well. They're going in, they are trying to kill someone.
They can go in together.
Absolutely. So Kai'Sa can join the fray, can actually take part in that. And it does look like a fairly dive-centric type of composition. But there is a bit of scaling there. There's still very good team fighting, and Raze is on the team fighting champion.
I really do like the way both teams managed to set themselves up. That Xin Zhao, I think, is going to be kind of... It needs to be proven for me. Yes, we saw it being played overseas. I don't know how viable it's going to be locally.
Yeah, we have to really put a microscope on the junglers in general in this game for sure. Ubisoft on the Xin Zhao, can he be super aggressive? Can he communicate, get the ganks off? And can the laner set up for those ganks when they aren't exactly all experienced playing together? The one thing that I have noticed about the Direwolves though is that they are a good group of friends as well as players playing together in the same
Always
team,
helps.
which does add up a lot. It does make a big difference, and you expect to see a faster growth perhaps from a group of friends as long as they're all able to work in that professional environment together.
Now, we do know Only and Claire as well being picked up by the Chiefs from Legacy. So this is going to be their debut under the Chiefs banner. I'm really interested to see how smoothly they're going to fit in with the rest. I mean, they have been around for a long time, so I don't doubt their experience, but it's always hard gelling with a new team.
Absolutely, and we are on the Rift here, but with the Chiefs roster, a lot of people say Bombers and Mammoth are the top two, and that would almost by default put Chiefs in the top three, but in that third place spot. And if you are the Chiefs roster, you see all those speculations on where the placements could be for yourself, and I don't think they'd be happy with third. They definitely want to push for first. And
It's got to
this
be
is-
first for them.
Exactly, and this is the type of team that can hit that first place as well. So you really want to see a statement game coming from them in this one. With all the expectations on them to do well, and with all the expectations on Direwolves to start slow and ramp up, you would expect this game to be heavily one-sided, and the Chiefs making a statement.
Some could argue that was what we expected from the last game, but we're always ready to be proven wrong, and that makes for some exciting League of Legends.
I like that we keep referencing it, it's good.
You know, I've got you here, so why not? But minions have spawned. You can already see, once again, just making sure that they have vision for any common invade paths, making sure no cheeky shenanigans are attempted.
Absolutely. You got Jason and Urgot in the top lane as well, a place that we have
Raid coming out as well from Raze.
a bit of damage down there onto Andrew. But towards that top lane, Swiper on the Urgot is very much like a diffusal type of champion, if you ask me. What does Urgot do when you put him towards the top lane? Jace has a lot of control usually, innate advantage by being ranged first and foremost, and also just having 6 spells to throw around wildly in that lane. But Urgot has the shields. He's very tanky early game and still does a lot of damage then with all of his shotgun knees. So it is hard to beat him in that lane, and Swiper one of those players that loves to be able to control his lane, disappear, really influence the map, get it going with Raze as well, and get those team fights on.
In terms of the junglers as well, that's also what I guess I would be turning my attention onto. You do have that Xin Zhao up against the Nocturne. In terms of that matchup, it's just going to be mostly farm, isn't it?
You would expect mostly farm from the side of Only. One thing worth noting is that Ubisoft did commit to the Hail of Blades as his keystone rune, so 110% attack speed increase when he auto-attacks a champion. And Xin Zhao, of course, having 3 hits and a knock-up, you would say that is a pretty significant attack speed bonus to give him some power through ganks, and that usually results in an early game type of strength. Having that guaranteed knock-up on a first gank, very potent. So I would expect him to gank. I would expect to see it at around level 3 once he gets that half clear off and has access to all of his spells.
In terms of early game safety, I'm just looking at that bot lane when you do have Raze and Ayla. I mean, for that Kai'Sa to also have that black shield to play around, you can already see they're utilizing it a little bit to their advantage, already starting to crash the wave. They're happy to just push.
Absolutely, and a very aggressively on the weak side, I will say, is the Direwolves bottom lane. Nice little knock-up. It's just going to be a bit of
Nice
damage.
trade.
Actually, 2 turret shots. That hurts a lot.
Just a little bit of an overstep. We already touched on how the turrets can be absolute monsters. They really do start to ramp up.
Just so much
Just takes
damage
1 or 2
now.
shots, yeah.
Honestly, turrets are just insane. It took so long to get your mental used to it.
100%. I am definitely guilty of overextending under a turret now.
And every AD carry in the world is guilty for not using heal for their support who's diving for them.
They're fine.
Because you
Look,
don't
she'll walk
expect
off,
it,
yeah.
you know? It's just so much damage now.
And then your support just looks at you and just pings it non-stop.
Can confirm.
Top lane over here, as I said, nothing too out of the ordinary. It is going to just be just 2 rocks sitting in that lane. It's very difficult for one to beat the other, but if anyone can do it, you would expect to see it from Swiper for reasons that you touched above. Doesn't mind playing aggressive if needed to.
Loves a good biff in that top lane, old Swiper, so wouldn't be too shocked to see it start to break out in that area. Xin Zhao, of course, was looking towards the top side, so Urgot with a bit more respect. But now Xin's recalled. Now Ubisoft is recalled. He's walking back towards the bottom side of the map, and he didn't clear all of his camps. What he did do was leave 2 up and move to Raptors, which to me indicates that he was looking towards either bot or mid lane as a gank. But you can see the wards from Chiefs just on the top right of your screen there. There's no way that he can walk through there, and so he's just going to have to full clear anyway.
They have that vision, and they're making sure that they don't want to get picked off in this early game, where really it can just take that 1 death to start to get a little bit of that disadvantage happening, just maintaining the momentum that they set for themselves. With one thing of the Direwolves, we know that they are a rookie roster. However, BioPanther has stayed on. Do you reckon he's going to be the one making a lot of those decisions, or would you expect to see it from another one of the team members?
I think you would expect, first and foremost, opinions and shot calling of experience to come from BioPanther. Biopanther, though he hasn't been playing for a significant amount
in the
of
top lane
time.
over here, Swiper taking a nice chunk of damage. Biopanther is happy to keep on pressing on. The splash had to be burned. Nice bit of aggression.
Yeah, very well done from Biopanther. Forcing the flash out of your opponent is a big deal, of course. When you look at a champion like Urgot, I don't think he'll be too worried. He'll just swap out that flash in a couple minutes and just switch it to another summoner spell, but that really hurts for ganks. If a Xin Zhao comes towards top lane now, he doesn't have flash, he may die. And if Nocturne's coming up, you can't engage on the Jace anywhere near as effectively now that you can't flash and knock them over your shoulders.
And you know Ubisoft would have been taking note of that one, so we may expect him to see him take a visit in that top lane, depending how we see them press on. Bottom lane, not much really going on still, just keeping up in terms of that CS, which is good to see, considering how hard we saw the Chiefs pressing on up.
And considering they're playing on the weaker side of the map, they're acting as if their jungler isn't ever nearby. You know, they're sitting back, they're respecting the Chiefs' bottom lane. They don't want to take crazy trades or anything that could lose them the lane any harder.
You don't want to go off too much,
Oh,
and that's
there's two
exactly why you don't want to. The Binding lands only is making sure that Ubisoft has nowhere to go.
Oh,
The
the
knock-up is
dragon.
there, but the Ignite means even the flash to secure it, making sure he did not want him to escape.
Only definitely taking the safe option there, choosing to flash it and secure it. That
The Ignite
dragon
was still ticking too.
Yeah.
The dragon was there helping out.
I think it would have given the kill to Ayla though, so perhaps this is about accelerating that Nocturne. Kill secured, junglers definitely
First
love
gold.
themselves some security in those kills.
Extra plus 100 gold for that first kill, and
Absolutely.
they get the Drake. So that is actually a very nice start for the Chiefs.
Yeah, dragon giving more gold now as well, so an extra 100 is hang on.
Swiper starting to push on back. I get those names confused sometimes. It's the swoop sound.
Yeah, there's been a couple times where I've said like big swifts instead of swiper by accident.
It's
but,
okay. We'll get there in the end.
One of them's a vacuum, I think, if it makes it any easier
Really?
for you. It's like a Swiffer, I think it's.
I'll Google this
Can't
afterwards.
confirm, I'm not from
Maybe chat can confirm. We'll have a look and see. Clear in the mid lane, also just happy to farm. That is the power of that Lissandra, just being able to push back the waves at every advantage. But I guess Akali has the advantage because she is almost a resourceless champion in that she has energy.
When you look at the energy and you compare them, absolutely. Of course, teleports start to influence that lane a bit more. Lissandra runs herself out, teleports back to lane if she wants to, and doesn't really have any concerns. And the thing that is actually interesting for Akali and that people may not fully understand is that you don't heal off your Q, the 5 shurikens she throws on the ground, unless your energy is very high. So being a resourceless champion is nice and all, but you have to play very carefully around that resource or you don't get the health back and you may just lose trades.
You don't get the benefit of it. That's exactly it. It's just to, I guess, really deter a little bit of that mindless spamming coming through and make it a little bit harder to master.
Which we like. No one needs mindless champions.
For some reason, I'm still thinking of the Flash Annie, which everyone always brings up when we think about something that might be a little bit mindless.
Outplayed.
A bit of poke coming out here from Ubisoft. That's really coming across from the vision that the Chiefs do
Ooh,
have.
Nocturne top.
Nocturne also ultimating in. He does have, I guess, the near-sighted onto Biopanther. He is going to walk out unscathed, though.
I feel like only never pressed his E. Yeah, the fear that usually secures kills for a Nocturne. It applies crowd control, which procs your attack speed buff as well. All of that could have potentially resulted in a kill. At the end of the
Biopanther
day,
just walked out. He
Yeah.
was like, not a fuss in the world.
at the end of the day, you're just able to walk that one out, knock him back, and easy as you like.
He also still does not have that flash, so
That would have helped.
yeah.
But also pressing your buttons is a very important part of League of Legends. I have to assume it was either just on cooldown or he just didn't hit the target.
Claire taking a little bit of the bully in the middle lane. But neither of them are going to commit fully unless they see that opportunity. There's no reason to.
If you think about the mid lane matchup, it's almost impossible to commit on one another. When you've got an Akali with Cleanse, there's no way Alessandra can go forwards. And if you're Akali and you try and dash towards Alessandra, she just presses her R button or her W
And just
and
laughs
walks
at
it
you.
out because she has Aftershock. So
Yep.
a lot of that lane actually comes down to who goes in first. The other person tends to win. But then there's just no reason to go in. You know, so they sit back, they relax, they farm, they try and get some vision around the map. They work around their junglers, more importantly. And that's the big thing we're waiting to see from the Direwolves, that only you can see now that he's hit 6, he got that first blood, he's going to start trying more and more.
Only as well has given Claire that blue buff, really going to help in terms of accelerating that farming. Suddenly now you can spam without needing to manage your mana as carefully.
Also very underrated is blue buff on Akali. The energy regeneration increases, so as we
And the
mentioned
CDR.
before, you can, yeah, and of course the CDR. being able to stay high on energy for her kit being important. You can see the utility in a blue then, can't you?
Have a look at that vision control as well in that bottom lane coming out here. That just shows that they really are taking these gank paths seriously.
It's very different with Nocturne ults as well, where you have to position those wards. So Direwolf's having a bit of a rough time placing them to prevent it, and his ult is just about to be available. Mid lane still has a lot of control, but I would be looking at it honestly now if I was only. Maybe top lane.
That's where he's going to set attention, or top lane again.
I would like that. You can see him walking up there now, actually.
He's making up his mind. Where does he go to from here? Obviously, in no real hurry. It's just if he sees the opportunity, you do have to respect that global, as I said. And that might also show why we do see the Direwolves being a little bit timid in terms of making sure that if their lanes are being overly pushed out, that they retreat.
And this is what makes Urgot insane. He has flash backup, of course, but he also has exhaust now, not teleport. So if he ever gets in range and Nocturne gets the ult off as well, there's no way to be detected if you're going through lane as a Nocturne. This gank could just be free.
Here we go. That's going to be the gank attempt. Ultimate coming out from Only. Jace is trying desperately to get away, but luckily Akali is here, and she takes out Only. They've turned their tables. Biopanther now. He's trying to dodge Swiper, who wants the kill. He's committing for it. It's going to take one more shot, but Biopanther turns the tables.
And with a hair's breadth of health as well, Biopanther is able to survive. Ubisoft at the right place at the right time. All signs were pointing towards the top lane as a gank point for Only, and suddenly the Direwolves, they counter gank it. Biopanther, knowing that his sole purpose was just to live, even gets to do so without his flash up, and Xin Zhao just kills them all.
I love it from Biopanther. He had so much confidence as well to make sure that he landed the killing blow, going in by that sliver of health.
Yeah, one might say not necessary,
not
but I fully
necessary
respect
at all.
it.
But that was a man mode play.
Absolutely. Claire also going to dash forwards there with a Morgana nearby, if you're wondering why he just became so aggressive. But things have started off pretty well here for the Direwolves.
They're doing well. Absolutely. That's going to really bolster a lot of their confidence. I mean, a lot of naysayers saying, you know, this team might be wrong. Oh, Isla, he does manage to land the binding. Also, popping the ultimate. It doesn't manage to time the stun.
And more important than anything else was the brilliant communication from Corporal and Ubisoft. The Xin Zhao runs away because the Rakan can dash to him. And so they get themselves out to safety. Corporal being able to face check it as well. Knows that he's going to be able to survive in the end.
Isla is making them count for sure, threatening them any chance that he can get.
Absolutely. You got Challenger in Korea for a reason.
Yeah.
And has got
That's
what
no
it takes.
easy feat.
No, it's not. Actually, a lot of people, you know, in the off-season, a lot of Oceanic players go over to Korea. They'll do their boot camps over there, and they'll grind solo queue. If they can scrim people, they will. But this off-season, it felt like... Now, a lot of the reports that I've heard from players is it was the hardest off-season they've had yet in Korea. And not a lot of them could even make it to Challenger. So in this season to make it to Challenger is very impressive from Ayla.
That's definitely going to count for that. Did not know that extra little tidbit of information, so it just makes that achievement even more impressive, which we like to see here. Once again, I'm just having a look at the ward control coming out, and it's really nice to see that Chiefs, again, just constantly making sure they keep tabs on that bottom lane so they can keep up that aggression time and time again.
Playing calm, playing patient League of Legends. Whether they're ahead or behind, it doesn't matter too much to them right now. They just want to use that Nocturne ultimate, and that's their timing for any time they want to make a play. Those dives.
A bit of a play coming in from Get Back. I do like to see that.
I respect it.
Not right under the tower.
I wouldn't have followed it through. That's good job from Get Back. He knows there's no teleport on Claire. Being able to
Also,
force him
no
out
mana
so
on Claire, so feeling confident to do that.
Control of laning phase is actually the result of it, however. With that control, a bit more freedom, knowing that Nocturne is going to be in a very limited amount of places now.
Speaking of teleports being down, with Swiper dead in that top lane, had to use teleport. In the bot lane, however, this is going to be the trade. The binding does manage to get spell shielded. Otherwise, Andrew could have been in a bit of trouble.
Big patience play from the bottom lane of Direwolves, but they are still losing that lane. They are still being pushed in. And while they're holding on in CS, they are losing objectives just next to them from the recalls.
Great to see as well the Drake. They do try to go for the steal, but the smite was up. So that's going to be the second Mountain Drake secured now by the Chiefs. And also, we do see a bit of a trade now with Ubisoft making a move on the Rift Herald. So nice to see finding value in other sides of the map.
Yeah, exactly. Using the correct knowledge of the map, they had awarded the Dragon, they saw the Chiefs move over, they saw the Nocturne, and because Lissandra had to recall in mid lane very easily, they're just able to walk on over to the Herald and secure that one.
I love the poke here coming out from Raze. Also just taking that one turret shot, but still winning the trade.
He's a very aggressive man sometimes, old Raze.
That might be why the ward's there. Pings are coming down in the bot lane.
It's
you
a
do see
dive.
only who wants to get in amongst this action. Ward has been spotted. That immediately telegraphs, get back.
Absolutely. Of course, even with the second control word placed by Dials, it doesn't mean they can save the turret. We are at 14 minutes and 50 seconds, so there may not be any extra turret plating to be seen, but it is still first turret gold going over to Ray's solo. It is still first turret going over to the Chiefs, and now they have a win condition well and truly online. They just unlock their bottom lane, break turrets around them.
Yeah, control so much more of that map and start to free it up. We have seen how much pressure they have been putting. So to get that turret down, it just really opens up what they can do with the map.
For sure, and of course, top lane's usually the next place that you would go once you break bottom outer. You go towards the other side of the map.
Exactly as you forecasted, where we do see Andrew and Corporal going.
And there's no concerns of dragons, there's no concerns of Rift Heralds being taken, but there is only one big concern remaining on where will that Rift Herald be placed by Ubisoft. So that's what you have to respect now if you are the Chiefs. And being on the top side of the map could be the furthest point possible away from where the Rift Herald will respawn, and that's the only thing they have to consider.
Still, this battle rages on in the mid lane. Oh, and finally, a bit of an aggressive play. Claire manages to go and force the flash from Get Back. Swiper is here. He's waiting until the execute can be popped. And he's waiting. He's not going to use it. He's happy to just try and get Back.
Yeah, the ultimate was actually used by Swiper. He didn't have the ability to execute, unfortunately, not hitting the mark. Honestly, in the end, Claire was the one who hit the outplay, was able to flash out of Akali's second combo. Get Back could have potentially got himself to safety. He could have dashed away if he wanted, because he flashed to his Shroud, but he wanted the kill. He was seeing red, and he's made to pay for that.
Chiefs, to me, feel as though they're playing a very careful game. They don't want to make any unnecessary mistakes. As you said, they just want to set an example out of this game.
Careful's a good word, I think, to describe what their current acts are. And we've mentioned this before. We mentioned it during the first game of the OPL as well, between Gravitas and Legacy. It's your first game in the OPL in 2019. Maybe you've played on the stage before, that's fine, but you still want to show respect and just play a good, clean game of League to prove your worth as a team in that first week.
All of the first lane turrets have been taken by the Chiefs as well, really widening the map. Finally now, Biopanther managed to get one for the Dire Wolves, so that's going to be a trade.
Like, when you look at the difference between top laners, Biopanther's still going to be a force to be reckoned with, honestly, by the Chiefs roster. There's not a whole lot of tanks in that squad. Of course, you'll get some armor out of Swiper, you'll get some armor out of the mid lane as well as jungler, but they're not raw, dedicated tanks. And Biopanther, he's gone towards the Black Cleaver, not the lethality build. He wants his team to deal as much damage as possible when he gets into the fray. And I think that's what they'll start to look towards now.
He can also provide his team with a lot of utility as that Jace. I mean, the ability to really utilize that mobility can help a lot if you do need to disengage, engage. And I think that will be one of the talking points that we see in these fights breaking out later on.
You know, one interaction that is, I guess, worth noting, just in case it happens, is when Siva is in a 2v2 fight, or is in a skirmish with another opponent. Nocturne can press R to pop the spell shield.
That is a good interaction.
Yeah, and just by being able to pop it, you find... Sorry, I stopped because I thought they were going to go.
Yeah, no, me too. That's all right.
Nocturne ult can pop the Siva spell shield, and that could actually give the avenue to CC someone down and lock them down.
I like it. Oh, what I do like as well is this initiation happening from Claire. Already you can see so much damage. Nocturne now flying in. He does manage to pop a couple of the flashes, but if they stay, you can bet that Chiefs will be looking to see if they can re-engage.
Whoa.
But thankfully, Biopanther manages to land a nice hit, forcing them to retreat.
Whoa,
and now
get
Get Back. He's keen to get amongst it. Ayla had to pop the Hourglass. Ayla has to pop the Flash, and Ayla is actually down from Andrew. The execute, though, comes out, and it's going to be a 1-for-1. Biopanther forced to flash. Corporal is seeing what he can do. It's not going to be enough. His Hourglass has been flashed, and he's going to be traded out.
Oh,
that
just
final
goes
auto
down.
attack.
Yeah, super close. The rest of the health is very low on Direwolves and Chiefs alike. It was a close fight in the end, but you can see the composure. You can see the difference in experience coming out between both of these teams as the fights break out. Direwolves almost getting their kills, but Chiefs still the ones that seem to come out with the advantage.
It's great to see all of Direwolves. They managed to turn the tables for a moment onto Chiefs, and then once Chiefs regained themselves, it was the Hourglasses that they really took advantage of. Once they were popped, just asking them, are you going to commit further to this fight? Otherwise, you have to let us have the kill.
And if we see the replay, the play that I unfortunately will have to highlight will be Get Back, because it's the second time now that he's shown that he wants to be aggressive and that he wants to go for the kills. And I'm a person as a coach and just as a player of League of Legends, I respect that someone wants to go for those kills, only immediately regrets his decision and flashes out of the way there for reference. A lot of damage from Biopanther is what actually starts this steam train going forwards for the Direwolves. And as Get Back comes in here, he uses his ult, He looks for the opportunity and thinks that he'll be able to get more than potentially just Ayla and goes over the wall and just dies. That gives the first kill back to the Chiefs. That actually locks down BioPanther and forces the flash and causes this chaos that erupts in the rest of the fight, where Chiefs always had the advantage because they were in the correct position.
Ocean Drake being picked up. I think one thing that I noticed as well in that fight was that Corporal, his quickening, he didn't manage to get any value of it. Imagine if he had that quickening up in that second little bit right there.
Absolutely.
Could have been a huge play, but just forcing it out early, and then it was Burn on trying to wait for that Hourglass target to come out of the stasis so that they could get a pick, but it didn't quite work out that way. That was really the Chiefs just making sure that they dictated the pace of the fight after that.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. You have to actually highlight Ayla doing it well. Not that Corporal did it by any means poorly. You want to hit that first target. You get a move speed boost by hitting him. Then you go into the team, and you can use your own stopwatch. But there was no way to catch Ayla. He flashed instantly. He respected his opponents, and it was very well done from the support of the Chiefs to start that fight off.
Nice binding by him to stop BioPanther as well. But, I mean, that's been said and done. Direwolves now, they can take this as learnings if they do need to skirmish again, because it still was a close fight, I feel.
It's really unfortunate for all those people looking at the point of view streams on Twitter. You've just got Urgots today. You watch a top lane, you got Urgot. You want to watch someone clear those side waves?
You got Urgot.
That's it. How exciting.
I love it. It's riveting.
It is good to watch Swiper, though, with his point of view stream. You see where he mouse clicks, and maybe people can solve the riddle on does he play like he's got old man hands, or does he high
like
APM
that.
click?
That was the debate of today.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. Hopefully chat can answer that one out. This is now the warding direction has changed, with that Baron now being a priority. See, they started to shift it up into the northern side of the river.
No dragons, no reason to be down there at all. And being able to replace your pinks is obviously a big fundamental that the Chiefs have got down right now. And with almost absolute control, they are looking towards it. This will be spotted by that Scuttle Crab. You can see the I'm on the way pings. But will they get here in time with how fast it goes?
Kai'Sa is absolutely shredding that Baron. Rest of the damage is coming out. They do have the Baron. It goes uncontested. It's up to Direwolves now to see what they want to do. But it's fighting coming out from the Chiefs. That's going to be BioPanther taken out. Hungry for more kills. Get Back is still staying in amongst it. But the flank is coming out from Swiper. Get Back taken out in the 1v1. No, he manages to flash to safety. Rest of the members do get out, so it's just going to be one that dies.
Yeah, but the Baron still goes to the Chiefs, and that's what matters the most for them. They've built up a 4,000 gold lead before the Baron even results in any turrets being taken down. They'll put their eyes towards the inner turrets. Mid lane's the first to fall. And suddenly this gold lead will accelerate, and this game state starts to become chaos for the Direwolves, and so hard to deal with.
BioPanther was in the bot lane, and that was immediately the call that the Chiefs felt. They know that he had teleport, but they were really respecting the damage output that they had, I felt, and that was completely the right call to make.
Yeah, and the teleport was a little bit lagging behind as well. You have to assume they're doing it, but they don't have information, so...
It was just that scuttle.
Yeah.
And that scuttle was also just about to expire, so it was just limited information.
And it doesn't show how fast they'll be able to do the Baron. When you look at the comp, you'd say, you know, Lissandra, Urgot aren't incredibly quick at doing it, but Kai'Sa is very quick with the two items that she has. Guinzu's Rage played the second one locked down, so all those passive stacks stacking up, able to rock the Baron's health bar, and just like that, the late teleport actually separates him from the team. And that was all the Chiefs needed.
We've seen a couple of different Kai'Sa builds, and I mean, this is the more standard one that we see, but Raze, don't face check, Raze! You are getting taken out for free! That's why we don't face check. Teleport is coming across, having to commit to it. Claire, it doesn't matter, seeing what she can make, but not wanting to commit to that.
And the signature move of everyone that's losing a game of League of Legends. Your opponents pick up Baron, so you just find a bush, and you just sit yourself in that bush and see if they come towards you.
I mean, it's just unfortunate because you know that Isla has the spell shield, Isla has wards, but you just never know where they're going to be. But needing to respect that, so perhaps a little bit of overconfidence from the Chiefs.
Maybe. What it does do is it buys time regardless. So they get the cash money on that little bush camp. They get Direwolves. They get rid of the AD carry as well, a big part of the damage of this composition. And they buy a whole lot of time while he is dead to think about what that next step may be, or where they want to go next, what they want to do as a team.
Well, the scary thing as well is the push potential that the Chiefs have. They do have 2 Mountain Drakes as well. So exactly, that was like the best target to have taken down.
Absolutely. Stop the sieges from happening is a big thing. Don't mind what Get Back was doing there. He was back in a safe spot all along. I blinked twice.
You took a double take, I saw you just like, oh. All right, and only arriving in this top lane over here. So a bit of that split now with the Baron buff. They know that they can just utilize a little bit their numbers to put pressure, put multiple threats on the map.
Still hunting. Get back's not going to get a whole lot of his... He's not going to get it back.
I see what you did there.
Going to have a hard time. It's really unavoidable.
It is. I said get back earlier, and I did not mean it until I was like, oh, right. Okay, though, Isla
all right.
needing to respect a little bit of that, and the call is made. They are going to blow up a target. It's Corporal that was chosen. The binding is landing. Are they hungry for more kills? Not quite.
They were hunting, though. Direwolves instead were the ones looking, perhaps stepping up, advancing forwards. Biopanther with no teleport has already started to walk over towards top, but he backs away now. He goes back towards bot lane. Chiefs, just so much control now that Raze has returned, because they have the teleport advantage as well.
It's just clean communication and clear teamwork that's going on. I mean, I'm seeing the pattern again and again. It's Only and Claire. They're picking a target, and they both have to commit to it. And that's what really is going to be that blow-up composition.
Yeah, they pick a clear win condition as a team as well. You get the lockdown in your lanes. You put the Nocturne in between them. And Direwolves won't know where you're going, because honestly, you can go to both. So it's very hard to deal with, and that really does change the way you play League of Legends. And it feels like Ubisoft, he was in the correct place one time, and that was a big win for the Direwolves. And that win in that little skirmish is what has kept them in this game almost to this point. They've given some strength to Bio and to Udi.
Ooh, trying to get the recall interrupt there, and also the binding. Chiefs are playing nice and aggressive, trying to see if they can make another pick happen. This is going to be their third Mountain Drake picked up. Completely uncontested.
Yeah, creating good space there to separate the jungler of the Direwolves away from the Dragon Pit. 3 Mountain Dragons means that if the Chiefs even look at a turret,
It's going to fall over.
it just falls down.
It's passive now. They look at a turret and it's just not there.
The Cassiopeia ult the other way.
That'd be funny to see. They do also maintain their 5k or so gold lead, and that's really nice to see from the Chiefs. That just comes down to the plays that they've been making, just clean and then not overcommitting. As I said, I'm like, are they hunting for more kills? No, they get the kill, they back away, they know exactly the game that they're looking to play. And it's really interesting because we were thinking that teams were going to be all in, but because of this best of one format, it seems like it's almost had the opposite effect. Teams just really slowing down the pace of the game.
I think, yeah, this is something that either they will, get used to it, playing aggressive better.
It is the first time.
It is the first game that they're playing. A lot of these teams haven't been playing together for a long time. We spoke about the roster shuffles as well in the OPL. It's been significant. So even if aggressive is the meta, it's hard to play it well because it's punishable. And that's why a lot of these teams are playing more methodically, playing more slowly, and just waiting for errors from their opponents. I love the LCK style just that little bit more.
I do like this from Claire as well, just sweeping out the wards, making sure that the vision that they do have is very, very limited. And that's going to be Only's ultimate coming on in straight onto Sivir, forcing the flash. Claire is not far behind. They do manage to lock down Ubisoft, only needing to flash on out. But finally, Isla gets to see what binding that they can do in that back lane, though. Get back. He tries to make a play. He might have to pay for with it.
No one's dead. That whole fight ended, no one died.
I'm shocked.
The Chiefs still win, though. They're still going to push towards mid lane and break the base, but...
Remember, triple Mountain Drake. That's a lot of siege. The members of Direwolves do need to heal up, but because nobody died, this is actually, it could have been so much worse. It could have been game ending.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters for the Chiefs, though. They're able to break the base, they get the inhib. Now they can reset, and as long as during this reset the Direwolves don't get the Baron, you would say that's a very big victory for them. After a team fight where 0 people die.
All of the members of Direwolves
you're
grouping
not
up
gonna
as
get
well. Isla! Woo! Just like that, Isla gets popped.
All it takes is one ward, and suddenly those recalls, they weren't all together,
The Baron has
Chiefs.
been opened up. Direwolves see a chance. They're going to take it. It's a risky play.
But it's a must-take play. They have to look towards this Baron. Chiefs are going to try and contest it. They're going to try and defend. Claire is ready on the flank.
Swiper is ready on the flank. All of the members are assembled here. Isla still 18 seconds on the counter, and Direwolves back off just like that.
They choose the full team retreat, and as a result of that, Chiefs, they might play it slow still. They might wait for their support to come back with all the vision to place on the map, but they get control of the Baron.
So much respect from the Direwolves, just
And you
knowing.
would start it now. You 100%. You expect Direwolves if they've base. They won't get here in time.
Direwolves for the second time make a journey to the Baron. The teleport is coming in. Biopanther forced to immediately flash on out. Get back, there's not much he can do. The focus is still there. Nocturne manages to get the
Get
fear,
back.
but get back. That shroud is going to end. It doesn't even matter though because Claire is doing so much lockdown and Ubisoft is falling. He needs to actually retreat. There's so much damage. Biopanther lives by a single sliver of health. This fight is going back and forth.
That was chaotic, but at the end of the day, it's still Chiefs that come out on top. Most people dead now from the Direwolves. Biopanther with no health, and a teleport coming in. Chiefs want to end this game.
Oh, that's going to be Swiper trying to make the play. See if he can finally get Biopanther. That guy must have 9 lives. Again and again, living on nothing. The Chiefs are closing this one out. The first turret is down to fall. They're on the second turret. Biopanther's a Corporal. There's not much they can do. And finally, Chiefs get that win over the Direwolves.
A slow-paced style of game from the Chiefs for the most part, waiting for mistakes perhaps from their opponents, just putting them in bad situations, waiting for their opportunities, and using the Nocturne ultimate, using their team composition to the best of their abilities. The Chiefs, they look pretty clean. They're able to take out the Direwolves.
So much respect coming out from the Direwolves. To start that Baron 5v4 and then completely give it up halfway, it just shows how dominating the Chiefs were silently. It was just like a power creep. It wasn't all at once, but bit by bit by bit, the Chiefs were taking, and Direwolves had to give.
And it's easy to say from our spectator view as well, but I felt like that Baron was the, the desperation must-do move. You have the 4v5, you perhaps want to take that.
This could have been it.
Yeah, yet they choose to back away, and that decision to back away is all of the entry that the Chiefs needed to get that team fight to find the Nocturne ultimate. And suddenly the game went from a position where, in the back of your mind, you're like, Direwolves might actually find a team fight or find a Baron. Maybe that's what they need. Completely gone.
That last team fight was very, very scrappy. It took quite a long time for Chiefs to actually finally commit those kills, but it was going to happen. As I said, it was just a slow power creep, and that's what it felt like. But instead of losing the game in that direction, I would have liked to see them try make that risky play for the Baron. Could have ended differently. We never know now.
We've seen some risks from the mid laner in Get Back, perhaps some mistakes in as well with how aggressive he was, but I like the aggressiveness coming out of him, and I would like to see the team know when it's desperate and play like it's desperate.
Yeah, that's it. So a totally different game, but also the styles that we saw coming out from the Chiefs. Direwolves managed to get a couple of surprise kills that were very, very clean and executed, and this is what I think they're going to take out of this, the positives. Where can they go to from now? Just replicating those results that they saw, perhaps with Get Back just suiting his aggression, but also knowing when to hone it in. That's probably also something that they're going to take away.
Absolutely, and we saw some very good moments as well from the jungler and from the top laner of the Direwolves. Ubisoft knowing where to be, when to be there, things that looked very promising from that roster, and this result shouldn't be a big surprise. At the end of the day, Chiefs were favourites, Direwolves underdogs. We expect to see the growth, and this is just that first stepping stone for both teams.
It is. This was the last game that we had for today. There is going to be more OPL tomorrow. We're going to throw it over to the couch. There might be some chili eating action. Keen to see who gets the short end of the stick, but we're heading over to Nick Boy.
It's a very short, spicy stick. How disappointing. Although my man Swipes came through for me. Thank you very much for at least getting one of my tips right.
Oh, did I get one of your tips right?
You did. I backed you guys. So you were the only one.
You're welcome, mate.
Congratulations on the first win. How are you feeling?
I would say, it's good to be back. I think, I don't know, I struggled a little bit with nerves today. I don't know what's going on.
It's been a while.
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't know. It's the first game of the split. I think everyone sort of has that stage in nerves a little bit. And we had a top jungle execution comp. So it was a bit sloppy, a bit sloppier than we wanted it to be. But I don't know, we take a win's a win and bathe in it.
Now, Doss, every summer, you round out, a couple of titles, couple of non-titles in the last couple of years, and you must sit down and you must just think to yourself, am I going to go again? And a couple of times I've had the chat with you. I'm sure Bryce has had the chat with you a couple of times.
Yeah, I've had it a lot.
This time, radio silence, mate. As soon as the split was over, you were just going again. What's changed? As you're getting older, are you just more invested towards it? Like, what? Are you more confident in your gameplay now? What's going on?
I don't know. I guess I ended the split and I sort of knew straight away that I'm not done yet. Like, I guess previous years, I've sort of been carried by radio or by good players on my team. And I think last year, Bryce did a little bit of work. Sorry, Bryce. But no, you did well. I would say that I really wanted to get to Korea again and just try and give it my all again this year, because I still think that I can be one of the best players in the region when I'm purely confident and at my best. So I really just want to show that to myself before I hang it up.
And Bryce and I were having an Shut up. Bryce and I were having an interesting conversation about like, does a League of Legends team need a captain, and what is the captain's role too? And I think that you're a great example of someone that wasn't necessarily a captain in the past, and was actually when I was with you 4 years ago, one of the quieter members of the team, and now certainly stepping up into what is a very young
big sweeps.
lineup. And certainly wearing the captaincy hat. So what does that mean for you, being able to lead a young, talented group, and by some being considered top 2, top 3 at the least favourable at the moment with such a new team?
Oh, I just wanted to say thanks for that, Jake. It really warmed my heart a bit. Honestly, I don't know. I think a captain is very important for a roster. I don't know. I guess last year was a lot of learning experiences for me, and I can bring that into this year with another new roster. I think I definitely made mistakes. I wasn't perfect, so I took what I could. And yeah, I guess we'll give it our all this split, and I don't know. I hope we do really well. So.
And I want to ask about your young roster, obviously, the two guys from Legacy, but also Ayla coming up.
Yep.
You talked about how Korea was such a big thing for you. I'm obviously a support player, very impressed with him going to Korea. You were saying got challenger immediately with little to no experience. He's obviously played OCS and been successful, but speak to me around the rest of the guys. How are you feeling?
No, I think Ayla for sure is probably the one of the most talented players in the APL. Honestly, I think in terms of raw mechanics and just his decision making is very good. I just think he likes the confidence right now, and he's a bit like me, I guess. When he's confident, I believe he'll do really good things in this scene. So, and for only in Claire, everyone knows how good they are. So I think they were pretty key pickups for us as well.
All right, you're all looking at me. I prefer the interview to go on for maybe another 4 or 5 hours, and then we can just see what happens. But congratulations on the win. It's good to see you back.
Thanks,
it's
Nick.
nice to see Chiefs continuing the winning trend. I'm just stalling for time now. Obviously, we'll get the spicy tips graphic up because I was a big fat loser.
So for those that don't know what this is, the spicy
because
tip
you're right.
is the 5 members of the talent, and every day we're going to submit who we think is going to win. Now, obviously, a lot of us were very silly today and tipped Order, but you were the most silly because not only did you tip Order, you tipped Mammoth and Legacy as well. So a lot of us had the one big fat loser, apart from Rusty, King Rusty over there. Rusty and I think, won day one.
Yep.
And Nick, you certainly lost. So
I certainly did.
the condition is now you have to eat a chili.
I do.
And do the outro of the show.
I do. And I would I'd like you to feed me the chili.
I want you to feed you it? Absolutely,
Will you,
man.
please? That'd be
Absolutely.
fantastic. So you just dangle that bad boy in there.
Have the ball.
How much do you want? You want the whole thing?
I just need, you could pick one chili.
Pick a nice looking chili.
We
have a selection.
Yeah. I licked the one you picked up before.
I think this one is nice.
That one's
That's a nice
it's
chili.
very aesthetic.
All right, results for today.
Am I coming over there?
Yeah, you gotta put that bad boy right in there.
You're taking the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is this all right?
Yeah. Just dip it in, mate.
All right, enjoy, mate.
Okay.
And I need some chews. That's
All
all
right.
right.
Yeah, we need to see considerable.
All right, so
he's already
If
made.
we can get that graphic up as soon as
Just getting the double.
possible.
Oh my.
Results from today. We got, please, for God's sake, put the graphic up.
Oh,
That's
Order.
tomorrow.
Lose to Bombers Legacy.
I felt that, man.
No, that's
Legacy.
tomorrow.
I felt
Oh,
that.
that's coming out tomorrow, sorry. Order versus Bombers. Legacy versus Direwolves. Members versus Gravitas. Avant Game versus the Chief. Can we see what happened today? No, there's no graphic for today, so screw it. We're going to be back tomorrow afternoon starting 4 o'clock. And don't forget that we're hosting Mid Beast now. It's going to be a good time. Thanks for hanging out for spring one of week 1 and spring 1 of the OPL 2019. I came up with this is the worst I did in my life. We're out. Cut the cameras.